Hello, gang. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, then I have just lied to you, because at the end of my last video, I told you that I was going to read and watch Little Women. Problem with that, though, is that that is a serious book for serious people, and I can get there. I'm just not in that headspace right now. I need another palate cleanser, and I can't tell you what possessed me to pick this. This is an impulsive decision at its finest, by the way. I don't even own a copy. I'm gonna have to get it on Kindle. But you know, I'm in the mood to watch two people grind ugly bits together, and I'm gonna spring on that while it's here. So like always, I'm gonna preface this with the information that I know about the story. Maybe know is the wrong word. I'm gonna say believe. I believe this story is about a billionaire man who finds a woman who he dominates consensually. And that's it. That's what I got. And if that's wrong, we're about to find out. Right here in 50 Shades of Grey.
This is Twilight fanfiction, isn't it? I knew that. I knew that my brain wasn't going to let it go. It's not crazy apparent, but it's there. You know, young brunette driving her beat up car out to Seattle, where she unknowingly is going to meet the guy who's going to change everything. Not the most original premise, but I am actually really looking forward to meeting this billionaire guy. Given what the book is about and the romance is going to last the entire time, I am kind of hoping he's the charming type of boyfriend and not the really irritating type. Like if he's abusive outside of and inside of the bedroom, that's just going to be a lot for me.
So she's already at this guy's office and about to meet him, and his office is just like filled to the brim with really pretty blondes. How do I put this nicely? Is he having sex with all of them? Maybe we never find that out, but I guess I'm asking you, do we think he's having sex with all of them? That's illegal, isn't it? They're employees. Unethical, at the very least. He just offered her an internship. Is that what he does, huh? That's how he got all the blondes in the office, right? I see what's happening right now. He's collected a horde of blondes, and he's gone, you know what? I'm tired of vanilla ice cream. I need a brunette. And that brunette is going to be Anastasia Steele. How close am I to the premise right now? Am I nailing this? I feel like maybe I need to workshop it a little bit more. Maybe she becomes their dominatrix. But if you're like Christian Grey and you're looking for an alternative to vanilla ice cream, let me introduce you to today's sponsor, Thrive Market. Thrive Market is an online membership-based grocery store that is the perfect mix of healthy, affordable, and convenient. As I've gotten into my 30s, I've had to be more conscious of what I put into my body, and like a lot of people, I associate healthy with expensive. But Thrive Market's mission is to bridge that gap, to make healthy and sustainable living affordable for everyone. And they even have price guarantees, so if you find something cheaper somewhere else, they'll match it. I'm personally big on snacking, so this week I got some Yes Bars, some Chomps, these are grass-fed beef sticks. And I actually love soda, but it's too much sugar for me, so I got a variety of these different drinks to try out alternatives. A fair amount of alternatives. I actually got more variety than I remember. And you can shop for your dietary needs easily. They have a ton of filters, so if you need gluten-free, keto-friendly, paleo, they make it really easy to find what you need. But even if you don't have diet restrictions, you'd be better off shopping there just based on their standards. They restrict over 1,000 questionable ingredients from their foods, things like artificial sweeteners or colors. And to add even more to the savings, every order over $49 ships for free. And I don't know when the last time I spent less than that in a grocery store is, so if you plan right, it could always be free, which is why I'm very thankful that Thrive Market sponsored today's video. You can click the link in the description box or go to thrivemarket.com/Linmore to get 30% off your first order and a free gift if you sign up for Thrive Market today.
Hey, all jokes aside though, and just between me and you, I can't tell if this is the worst written book I've ever read or if it's the worst audiobook I've ever heard. I'm doing the immersive reading. I'm doing both the audio and the physical. And this narrator, she puts inflection on all of the wrong words. I would play you a clip of it, but it's not going to do it justice. It's so bad. I've thought about switching books again, and I'm so out of time to make this video that I can't do it, but I wanna.
He just showed up at her work and bought two things. Do you want to guess what they were? Duct tape and rope. You know, if you're trying to convince somebody that you're not a creep and you're looking at a list of things not to do, top of that fucking list is buying the number 2 items to commit a murder. Buying them in front of her, from her. Dennis Reynolds at least had the common sense to hide them in his car. For a girl that works in a hardware store, she gets an awful lot of FaceTime with billionaires. They're now in a hotel room together, not doing anything weird yet. They're having a photo shoot. And I need your help here, chat, because at the current pace of trying to take this story seriously, I'm getting nowhere. I know that you can already sense my frustration in this. We're on like chapter 4 right now. So what's the move? Do I just turn into a gutter rat and lean in? Accept that it's trash? It's not what I want to do. I want to nitpick it to hell. Look, it steals from Twilight, but it's not as fun as Twilight. I don't know which direction I'm going to go with that yet, but I'll tell you this, all right, just man to man. This is the only one I'm doing. If anybody is watching this and you're worried, like, hey, the next 3 months are going to be 50 Shades of Grey, not happening. Palette cleanser, we're going to do this book, we're going to do the movie, and then we're off to greener, less bondaged pastures.
She asked if he had a girlfriend, and he said, I don't do the girlfriend thing. So he's a hoe. Just use and abuse him and then leave? That's his MO? If she knows this going in, why is she doing this? Oh, Anastasia, I need you to be smarter than this.
He's borderline stalking her right now, and this just makes me miss Twilight. I should do a reread.
He runs his hand through his hair, and I know it's because he's exasperated. Are you going to continue to scold me? You're lucky I'm just scolding you. What do you mean? Well, if you were mine, you wouldn't be able to sit down for a week after the stunt you pulled yesterday. You didn't eat, you got drunk, you put yourself at risk.
Is he going to spank her? That was not what I had in my head when I was thinking about like BDSM. Is that a normal part of that? What I have in my head is like a schoolgirl thing, and I don't find that attractive for what I feel like are obvious reasons. And I really hope that's not what we're looking at here.
Nope. Again, just...
Large swig of my wine. Does this mean you're going to make love to me tonight, Christian? His mouth drops open slightly, but he recovers quickly. No, Anastasia, it doesn't. First, I don't make love. I fuck. Hard. Second, there's a lot more paperwork to do.
What the fuck was that? Remember that list I was talking about of like moments where I cringe? That was one of them. I think it was the hard that got me. I would have been okay if his wording was, I don't make love, I fuck. Okay, got it. You like to use people. Not a good person. But you throw in that extra word and it's like, was that necessary? I don't make love, I fuck. Hard. Like, Jesus Christ, are you going to pile drive me? What does that even mean? Second, there at the end, you heard him mention the sex contract. We have a lot of paperwork to do. I'm not a lawyer, but I don't think that this is legally binding. And there's so much more to this, okay? So he showed her his playroom, which to me, I'm just picturing a 90s style Ronald McDonald playhouse. And before I get any further here, I just want to say that, like, I understand what this book is about, okay? It's about all of the positive aspects of exploring a woman's sexuality. I am for all of that. Please don't take anything that I say as a negative thing towards that. However, and this is going to especially apply to the movie that I watch after this, you are allowed to do anything that you want with a consenting adult within the parameters of your home specifically. I genuinely believe that the trust involved in these type of acts and other acts between two consenting adults is a beautiful thing. And I mean the trust involved to do BDSM or other things with another person is mind-blowing and beautiful. The however that I'm getting to here is that if I have to hear about it, I'm going to comment on it. So when I call either one of them a hoe, a hooker, a pervert, we'll see what other words I come up with during this video. Please understand that that is not me commenting on the acts themselves. That's me lashing out at you having involved me. Because I may very well go do those acts with somebody else, but the difference is I'm not going to tell the public about it, and that's the difference between me and these two perverts. So with that being said, he has just explained his situation, his torture sex house, and that he likes flogging, being flogged. I don't really know the full extent of it. And Anastasia asks what he gets out of it. And he says, pleasure. He gets pleasure out of it, doing these things to other people. And to some extent, I get that, I suppose. I mean, I don't know if I would want to inflict pain on another person, but she then goes, okay, what do I get out of it? And his, and his answer is me. I get that he's good looking, but I don't think that that would be enough for me. Are you hearing what I'm saying? I don't think that the proposition of, hey, I beat the living fucking tar out of you and I get pleasure out of that. That's my end of this bargain. And your end of this bargain is you get to experience being beaten by me. When I word it like that, that's fucking crazy. Isn't that crazy? I don't know. Maybe I'm just a 50-50 guy, right? Like, okay, you can beat me, but I want to turn. I want the flogger after you. I'm going to beat you back. That's the only way. I think that's the only way you could get me in that situation. They're doing it. The old in and out. It's chapter 8 of 26. I got to say, this feels early. If they're already doing that, what the hell is the rest of the book? I was kind of hoping for some yearning. You know what I mean? Which is my fault if they're already talking about a sex room and beating each other. But this is moving way too fast for me. We're on day 2 of them doing the sideways dance together. And his mom almost walks in on them. I don't know why his mom was around. He's a 27-year-old. And he goes, I want you to meet my mom. Day 2 is day 2. What's up with this guy? I don't like this. I'm losing my mind. He just admits to being statutorily assaulted
Throughout all of his teenage years, there was a much older lady who was his dom, and he was her submissive for 6 years when he was a teenager. Not like 18, like 15. And Anastasia didn't have any questions about that. I'd have a lot of questions about that. And it gets better. It gets so much better. It was his mom's friend who he is still friends with. To use his exact words, he called her a good friend. I have lots of good friends. You know what my good friends have never done to me? Yeah. I don't like this man very much. And he's a victim. I get that. I don't not like him because he's a victim. I don't like him because I think he's dumb. I feel like this lady, the one who assaulted him, is going to have a role in this story, isn't she? I'm going to have to see her later. I don't want that. I don't want to see her.
We have kind of established that I don't like this guy, and I'm going to give us just another small example as to why. Every time he wants to move her somewhere, he just says, come. Just one word. And I know that there's like some sexual undertone to that, but it creeps me out because it's not how a human talks. It's not like, let's go, move over there, come this way. It's just come, like she's a dog. And quite frankly, I've seen people give more affection to an actual animal when trying to call them than he does to Anastasia. This whole use and abuse thing, I don't know if I'm on board. I get doing that in a specific setting. But you remember earlier when I was like, I don't want him to be abusive inside and outside of the bedroom? I kind of feel like he is abusive outside of the bedroom. Speaking of the bedroom, though, you know that sex contract that I mentioned earlier? Anastasia went through it and she's finally like doing her red lines of the things that she will and won't do. And good for her, you know, sticking up for herself. It's not easy always to look a man in the eye and tell him that you're anti-fisting, but she stuck to her guns. You got to know your worth out there these days. And they're doing it again. I need this guy Jose to run full speed into a brick wall. I don't like him. I loved Jacob Black in Twilight up until, certain things happened. And Jose is very clearly the Jacob Black of this story. I thought he might be Mike Newton. He's not. He's Jacob Black. But without any of the charm. This guy sucks. He's copying the playbook page for page, becomes her friend, puts undue pressure on her to date him, forces himself upon her, and then apologizes and like, no. Let's just be friends. No, man. Go be friends with moving traffic. You want to force yourself into situations? Go force yourself into the middle of an active freeway. They're having sex again. I'm not trying to be funny about this. I didn't understand when I picked this up how much of the book was going to be sex. You guys know what I read. I've read smut before, and it's typically like you do the yearning thing where they get together over a fairly long period of time, and then somewhere between like the 50% to the end of the book, they will have sex like 3 or 4 times, and 1 or 2 of those will be a fade to black. 0 fades to black in this. I know every detail of every sexual act they have ever done together. Call me a prude. I don't want that. I could use a little innuendo. And then we had a really good night. I could use a couple lines like that. So I guess my point is that I didn't know that sex could be a plot. But it kind of is because they haven't even signed that agreement yet that I've been talking to you about. So there's still this like upward momentum of tension because you haven't gotten into like the dark stuff yet. And I don't think the dark stuff is going to happen until they sign that contract. So I'll give it to her. The author has turned a plot out of just sex scenes. It's actually kind of impressive. Okay, so I actually think that we are far enough in now where I can talk to you about all of the overlaps I've seen between Twilight and this book. I'm not going to catch all of them. The point of this is not to catch all of them. It's to point out the things that I'm like, that's so on the nose that you didn't hide it at all. So just in the order that I wrote them down, we have a male character that is both rich and adopted, a wannabe Jacob who forces himself on the woman, a mom who is a mess and married to a man that will never be as good as her first husband, dad who uses a camera in awkward situations, dad who is a big fisherman, a car that sucks so bad that the man forces her to replace it, which she doesn't want to accept, so she negotiates the situation and ends up accepting it anyways. Kind of hand in hand with that, a main character who is highly uncoordinated, takes place in the Pacific Northwest. And finally, we have 1 or more characters who suck on things repeatedly with different context, of course. And I don't think there's any way in hell that I caught them all. So if you know more, please comment them. And they're doing it again, listening to it happen right now. I'm starting to worry for her. I really am. Because she is just not into this. All the things that Rihanna sings about, she doesn't want nothing to do with that whips and change and the smell of it. She just wants to date him, which is a whole separate thing that I'll get into later because I don't understand that either. They have 0 chemistry together, intellectual or humorous chemistry. But she just agreed to his terms, and I think that she's doing it because she wants to try and change him, and I don't know if he is capable of that. He doesn't like being touched, like just touched, like grazed on the arm. That's too much for him.
And she wants a normal relationship with this guy. I'm not even faulting him for this. He has made his needs known. But that's why I think this is going to end bad for her, because she is not accepting who he is. And I don't think he's changing. Also, they're having sex again.
Another thing that I've been tracking actually is how many times he has made her cry. And for anybody curious, that answer is 4 by chapter 16. I don't know how long this video is going to be because I just have so many thoughts about this story. Here's my latest one. Smart people are really dumb. It kind of seems like Christian Grey's number one objective is to not let the world find out that he's a pervert. And if that is truly his number one objective, why does he keep emailing evidence of it? He's got 200 emails with Anastasia about all the different ways that he is a pervert. And if anybody ever raids his house, he's going to have to bomb the servers like he's Hillary in 2016. It's called a paper trail. Stop.
They're doing it again.
Wait.
Oh, Anastasia, you've bewitched me. Isn't it obvious?
Remember? From The Thing?
I would have to tell you. You have bewitched me, body and soul, and I love.
I think she stole that. I've seen that movie because of you. You did that.
They're doing it again.
I'm sorry to be transactional about this, just coming on here and not giving you more details, but I really can't stress how many times they've had sex in this book.
3 pages later, they did it again.
Oh, hey, full circle moment. You remember all the blondes that work for him? He hasn't slept with any of them. You know what? Good for him. He might be a pervert, but in this one instance, ethically sound.
Christian Grey is a little bitch. We just found out that he has been having dinners, regularly, with the woman who was doing the thing to him when he was a minor. I don't know what's going to get me demonetized on this platform. The woman who was abusing him when he was a minor. They have dinner together. What the fuck? You know, he's such a jealous little ass all of the time. And Anastasia gets mad about this one little thing. Why are you meeting up with the woman who abused you as a teenager? And he's like, what's the big deal? I don't think she abused me. And is now pleading his case that she's a good woman.
Extra little cherry on top, by the way. She was married the whole time. Ruined her marriage. Now, why would it ruin her marriage if she wasn't doing anything wrong?
This is chapter 23, though, so there's only 3 left. Kind of feels like we should be winding down right around now. That's not happening at all. They're like bunnies right now. This godforsaken book right now is trying to convince me that that lady, statutory rape lady, is a good person. I won't have it. Argue with Satan himself in the comment section. I won't have it. They're doing it again. They're doing it again. It's been 3 paragraphs. All of the things I've mentioned, none of it's resolved. Look, I know that he's a victim here. I need her to put him in timeout for a little bit while some things get worked through. Let's keep our clothes on for more than 10 fucking minutes.
Hey, guess what? Doing it again. 2 pages later, they're doing it again. These 2 idiots are meant for each other. All right, gang, I have on my fancy clothes, and that is for 2 reasons. 1 is because we are finishing the book tonight. 2 is because I'm going to say a serious statement to you, one that I never thought in a million years I would be saying in the middle of this video, which is, this book is making me think. For a while now, Anastasia has been teetering back and forth between breaking up with him or staying with him. Because she thinks she loves him, but she is also starting to accept that he might not be the person for her and that he is maybe just using and abusing her. At one point, she said the words to him, "Please don't hit me," which I know a lot of people out there deal with actual domestic violence, and I just want to say that is a situation that you should never have to be in. It is not always easy to avoid, but it is not something that you want in a partner. And so the thing that I'm thinking about is, what is the value of a purely sexual relationship? I said earlier that I don't think they have intellectual or humorous chemistry, and I will die on the hill that that is true. They constantly misunderstand each other, which leads to all kinds of fights. He will show up at her house at 3 o'clock in the morning from across the country because he didn't understand the punchline of an email. And quite frankly, I have known so many people in my lifetime who are exactly this way, where they will found a relationship on purely sexual reasons. And sexual chemistry with somebody is incredible. That type of thing where you look across the room and you lock eyes with somebody and you're like, oh, hell yeah. I don't know if we're even going to talk because I'm kind of scared, but I'm into you and I think you're into me and I hope we meet, but we probably won't. And I'm not going to make a list and count here, but it's probably 99 out of 100 times where in my personal life, I have seen those relationships fail. And not where they meet each other in that way. That's not what I mean. What I mean is where they don't have anything in common other than the fact that they like to sleep with each other. And that's how I view this relationship. They are not good to each other. They are not a fit socially. They are not a fit intellectually. They have no hobbies that overlap. Their career interests are different, and you can't even say that they're attracted to each other because they're both good people, because they're not. Anastasia probably is. I don't really see anything that would make her a bad person, but there are so many traits, and not just traits, but like outright moments where Anastasia's wondering if he's a bad guy or not. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk. There's not really a point to it other than to say, no matter how this ends up, I'm against the foundation of their relationship. If I was either one of these people's friends or parents, I would tell them to end it. And I've been saving this for the entire time because I'm not joking in the slightest when I say that when I sat down to film this, right before this, they had sex again. Well, on top of everything else I just said, she just told him that she loves him. So I'm sure this is going to end great. I'm sure it's going to end great. It always does. You know, we only have a little bit of time left and everything is hunky-dory right now, which means everything is about to go real bad, real fast. And in fact, my prediction here is that I think she's going to get pregnant. I don't have a lot of hope in that. It's just what I think is going to happen. Anyways, right now is a perfect time to go over my list of the things that made me uncomfortable throughout the book. I've talked to you about a number of them, so I'm not going to repeat those things. These are just things that I haven't mentioned to you before. Okay, so early on, he found out that she was a virgin, and his first response to that was to immediately take that from her. Did not love. That made me feel icky inside. So next we have steel wrapped in velvet when talking about his appendage. You know, it's not the worst. It's just that I own one. Not how I would describe it. Next, we have any scene involving the inner goddess. I'm sure that that's a euphemism for like a woman's sexuality or something, and that's not the problem that I have with it. The problem I have with it is that every single time the inner goddess was mentioned, it was as if it was a person, like Slim Shady to Eminem, and her inner goddess said the dumbest shit. Like she would say something snarky to Christian Grey, and then she would turn around and be like, my inner goddess just wants to pump her fist in the air. And you're like, what the fuck is this? It was too cheesy for me. I didn't like it. And last and certainly not least, because this is actually in the number one place of making me cringe. For some reason, Anastasia would wear pigtails, and one time Christian Grey said to her, you look so young in these. Again, I'm going to hit you with a, what the fuck? She's 21 years old. How much lower are you trying to go? That statement says that she doesn't look her age. So if she doesn't look 21, what number are you trying to get to, buddy? I mean, I would hope that she at least looks 21. So anyways, that's my list. And I gotta be honest, when I started it, I did think it would be longer, but I think that's because most of the things that would make me cringe are in sex scenes. And I blacked most of that out after like the 11th one. And once again, if you have any to add to the list, let me know. Surprise, surprise, they're having sex again. And again. Oh. She just asked him to beat her like the way that he would if he was doing an actual punishment, because apparently he's been holding back this entire time. She is not liking this. Wait. No. It just ended. What was that? We were in the middle of stuff. There were things that had just popped up that I didn't even get to talk to you about. Christian at one point disappeared because this huge problem came up, and then we overheard him on the phone at one point where he, I think, alluded to like somebody being missing. I don't know how accurate that is, but like we're in the middle of plot lines. He just beat her because she asked him to beat her, and then she hated it enough where she got up and was crying, and she broke up with him and left, and the book ended. I really can't tell you how angry I am right now because I meant what I said. I'm not reading the next couple books. It just ended in what I feel like was the middle of a book. I don't even know what to tell you. There was no resolution to anything. I don't know what to do right now. I don't feel like I can give you my full thoughts on the story. There wasn't a story. Stories have beginning, middles, and ends. The book ended, but there wasn't an ending. What the hell was that? I'll be back. 1.25 stars. If you have followed this account for any period of time, you have heard me say a couple of sentences over and over again, okay? And that is, when I rate a book fairly low, I try not to dog on it too hard, and so I will say it had a beginning, a middle, and an end, and the sentences ended in periods. If you did all of those things, you got points for that. This book had a beginning and a middle, and the sentences ended in periods. It does not have an ending. 1.25 stars. And the 0.25, the only reason I gave it the 0.25 star, because I wanted to just give it 1 right out of the gate. The prose are horrible, the characters are questionable at best, and almost all of the characters and world building are derivative of Twilight. So it was going to be 1 star, but the reason I gave it the 0.25 is because of that one moment when the book made me think. And that was worth something. It's worth a 1/4 star. And I promise you, if I watch this movie and it has the same ending, you are on screen going to watch me write a letter to the studio. And I'll CC the author. This was assault, which is ironically what Christian did to her at the end of the book. Well, not how I wanted to end this, but I suppose there is a silver lining, and that is Thrive Market. I just want to thank them again for sponsoring this video. I meant every word of what I said earlier. They're truly a great company with a great mission, and I will be using them for all of my healthy shopping needs moving forward. So if you want to check them out, click the link in the description, and I will see you all in 2 weeks.